Hello guys, how are you? From my side, I'm very well. So today we want to look at Unit 2. I want to look at Unit 2. So I know that you all have the study guide and you also have the questions for Unit 2. They were sent to you by James. So Unit 2, we are going to tackle it using the typical exam questions. That is how we are going to tackle Unit 2 as well as other units that will follow. So the theory part, or if you want to read the theory there in the start guide, you can make it a start guide. So if you want a situation will be just going through the theory in the start guide. We want to focus more on questions that will come in the exam. So we'll be dealing with typical exam questions. So there's a document that was sent to you. So this document has got questions 1 to 4. I'm not mistaken, yes, 1 to 4. And then later on, there'll be an additional question, that is question 5. I will show you after we are done with the first 4 questions. So if we go to our paper, let me just share it here for those who haven't in the paper. Right, so this is the paper. For these questions, I took them from past exam papers. And this is where I took these questions. So we want to go through these questions to see how we tackle them. So the first question, which is question 1, has got a case start saying, read the article below and answer the questions that follow. Tesla supplier, CATL, weighs size for $5 billion battery plant. So I understand that you read this article. So for those who did not read the article, I will give you a few minutes to go through the article so that you understand what it is about before we start on the questions. Okay. Right. So the first question says, it is got 20 marks. Question 1, considering the fact that the location decisions transcend national borders, and that CATL intends to supply electric vehicle manufacturers across North America, critically discuss the main considerations and factors that could influence the sequence of locational analysis, highlight the following in your discussion: country decision, number 2, region and community decision, and number 3, site decision. So as you answer question 1, you need to base your answer on country decisions, region and community decision, and site decision. So your answers will fall under these 3 headings. Okay, that is how you should structure your answer. Okay, so I know that you have the question paper, so let me share solution paper that I have here. Okay, so when you are answering these questions, usually if it's an essay question, 10 marks or more, you need to have your introduction. We'll cover this more when we go through your assignment. Okay, so today is just overview of what we do. You need to have your introduction and then your board, that is the main part where you discuss your points, and then lastly you should have a conclusion. Okay, so next time when you're looking at your assignment, we'll see how we write the introduction, we'll look at how we write the board, how we write the conclusion. We'll also cover referencing, because now you are required to reference your work when you are writing an exam. So we also look at how we reference, right? So this is my introduction here. Right? So I wrote all the questions in full so that when you want the document, when you want to go through it, then I can give you. So the question says you have country decisions. So when I'm looking at the country decisions, which is the first part of your question, we need to look at the first point here. We can talk about administrative distance. That is the administrative differences between the 2 countries, right? The country where the business is based, or the home country, and where it wants to have its where it wants to open businesses, right? So we need to look at the administrative distance, which is administrative difference between those 2 countries. That's the first point that you can write under country decisions, right? So administrative and political distance is linked to the common political and historical philosophies of many nations, right? So finding trade patterns between one's domestic market and a possible overseas market might greatly improve the outcome. So you're now writing now about the administrative difference, how it can affect the the decision of the company to locate in the specific area. Okay, and then the other thing that you can write about under the country decision, we have the economic distance, or the economic difference, or economic variations between the 2 countries, right? So the economic distance, it takes into consideration how there are variations among countries in terms of wages, economic development, and technical capabilities. So they affect location decisions. Wages, they might be high or they might be low. Economic development, there's no infrastructure there. Technical capabilities, all of these, they fall under economic distance. They affect the location decisions of the company. Okay, and then the other thing that you can mention under the country decisions is the government regulations, right? We have government regulations. So onerous labor requirements might prove to be an exorbitant burden company. So particularly in the early phases of establishing in a new location, American businesses are accustomed to having the flexibility and freedom to make decisions to react to market, such as staff automation. So we are referring to American business because this company wants to open businesses in North America. So if you give examples that are related to where the company wants to open business, it will be very good. Right? So businesses that operate in North America want to ensure that they are completely protected by the law. So from a legal and regulatory perspective, a few elements that might influence how business-friendly a government is comprise open and transparent local government on taxes and permits, IP protection, labor laws, and flexibility to manage employees. So these are some of the things that can affect the location decisions of the company in North America. Right. So under country decisions, we have government regulations, we have the economic differences as well as the administrative distance. All right. And then the other section that you also touch in is the region and community decision as per the question. So under the region and community decision, we are looking at the first thing that we can look at here is the business rates. Right under the region and community decision, we can look at the factor which is the business rates. Right? So cash flow is important because it affects whether a firm can survive and pay its bills. So to make sure the company can afford the premises, it is crucial to examine the typical business rates in the region or community, including rent, energy costs, and taxes. These expenses, they affect the location decision. So these are all the businesses that you are in a region or a community. Right. And then what we can also look at under the region and community decision, we have the skill base in the area, right? We have the skill base in the area. So to determine whether the local skill base can meet the demands of the business, CATL should research it. Additionally, employment rates must be considered. So it is better to know, excuse me, just 1 second. Right, so we are saying it is better to move where there is a strong pool of talent if the company which is CATL depends on trained labor. Right, so skill based in the area is a regional community factor that can affect location decisions. Right, so if a company requires technical abilities or trained labor, it needs locating an area where the talent is found, is available. Okay, right. So this is what you can write under region and community decision, that is business rates as well as skill base in the area. Right. The last section that you should also look at from the question is the site decision, right? Site decision. So factors that come under the site decision, you can write access to utility and raw materials, right? Access to utility and raw materials. So any company initiative that wants to succeed is to be located where infrastructure and utilities are easily accessible. Electricity, water supply, healthcare, a more and efficient garbage disposal system, and other necessities should be there. So the accessibility to the raw resources that the firm will employ is another important issue that CATL should take into account. This will enable the company to avoid paying for the transportation or importation of raw materials to the location. Right. So we have utilities there. The site, are utilities accessible at the site? Is it easy to access or to transport the raw materials to the site? Is it not far away from the raw material sources? So that's the first factor that you can write here under the site decision. The other factor that you can write under the site is the security and the nature of the neighborhood, right? We have security and nature of the neighborhood. So in any residential neighborhood, the safety of people and their belongings is essential. Therefore, it is important to not take this element lightly. So before doing anything, CATL should learn about the security measures in place at the location and its surroundings. Knowing the level of crime in that area can help the firm make wise choices and then take preventive actions to safeguard its employees, its operations, as well as what its assets. If company just go and locate in an area that is not safe, then it might face problems. So another extremely important factor is the neighborhood. Harmful substances are bound in the environment. Is there any pollution at the site itself that would be dangerous to people's health? These are some of the things that come under the security and nature of the neighborhood. Right. So you can see now that we've addressed the question. We said we have looked at the country decisions. Then we have three factors under the country decision. And then under the region and community decision, we have two factors, business rates and skill based in the area. And then under the site decision, we have access to utility and raw materials, as well as security and the nature of the neighborhood. And then after that, this is our board. We write the conclusion. We write the conclusion. So I said, when we do our assignment, delve deeper into how we structure the assignment or how we are structuring an essay from the introduction, board, and conclusion, referencing, page numbering, all aspects. We'll cover them when we look at the assignment. Okay, right. Let's go on to the next question. So this was our first question. Let's go on to the next question. Question two. Question two. So you'll see that the information that is here sometimes is a bit much when you are in an exam. When you're in an exam, sometimes you don't have to write a lot of information like this, but we also advise you later on about all these aspects. The number of pages that you must write for a question when you're in an exam, we also touch on all those things. Right, question 2.1, the first one, 2.1, it says critically discuss, yes, it's still based on the start guide, the article, critically discuss how SLAC and Lewis 2008 4 perspectives of operations strategy can be used to develop a fit for purpose operation strategy for CATL's new North American electric vehicle battery factory. Assume that a US-based location has been chosen for the EV battery plant. Right, so 2.1, that question is from Unit 3, but as I said, let's cover it, but it's from Unit 3. But most of our questions here, they are from Unit 2. Okay. So for 2.1, it's 10 marks. So you can also write your introduction, and then you write about the 4 perspectives of operations strategy. So the 4 perspectives of operations strategy that we have the top-down perspective, the bottom-up perspective, the market requirement based perspective, and then the resources-based perspective. These are the 4 perspectives that you can write about on question 2.5. Okay, so under the top-down perspective, right, we're just discussing how this can be used to develop a fit for purpose operation strategy. So the top-down perspective, this perspective focuses on the holistic objectives of the whole organization. We're talking of the comprehensive objectives of the organization. This strategy is also called the corporate strategy because it's concerned with the organization as a whole in terms of the sector it competes. So the top-down perspective of CATL is to be a market leader in the EV battery sector and be a highly ranked company in the manufacturing of EV batteries in North America. Now refer to the Eastern organization in your what? In your answer. To achieve this, the company should recruit the best workers in the industry to respond to the customers' needs. Okay, and then from the top-down perspective, we have the bottom-up perspective, right? So this form of perspective is where operation improvements cumulatively build strategy. So this one can be defined as the views that a corporation uses to modify its operations based on knowledge it gathers through its daily operations. So the business, that is the CATL, should take this into consideration when it launches an online social community network. Using the experience gathered from previous operations, this network will enable the business to communicate directly with customers online and determine their true needs. This is what we can write under the bottom-up perspective. And then we have the market requirement perspective, which is the third one. So the business needs to make an effort to satisfy market demands. So by gathering customer input and offering its customers the best EV batteries, CATL should adapt to the market. By offering clients high quality items and adjusting to their wants, this will allow the business to be competitive in the market. And then the last perspective that you should write about is the resource-based view perspective. Right? When talking of the resources, you know the resources we have there, assets of the company, we have human resources, that is the employees of the staff that do work. So under the resource-based view, employees at CATL must be qualified to deliver the products meant for the customers. So the business which relies on knowledge, that is CAT relies on knowledge, needs to help its employees develop their understanding of market trends and reactions. Okay. So these are the 4 views that you write about when you ask about the 4 perspectives. The operation strategies, the top-down perspective, bottom-up perspective, the market requirement perspective, and the resource-based view. Okay, question 2.2, going on to 2.2. It says 2.2 says, assuming 2.21, okay, 2.2 first, says, assuming that you are an operations analyst at CATL with a responsibility for the analysis of the possible sites across North America, North American continent, that is Mexico, US, and Canada, answer the following questions. The first one, 2.1, specify any four methods or techniques that you could use to evaluate the alternative sites across North America for its $5 billion electric vehicle battery plant. right? So the four methods or techniques that can be used, right? The first one, you can see it's 4 marks, so you don't have to write a lot of things here. Just 1 to 2 sentences, that's fine, because it's 1 mark for each method or technique. You do not have to write a lot. Those are the things that you should look at when you are writing exam. Make sure that you don't put too much information where it is not needed. Right, so the first one is the factor rating method. So this is a location technique that adds objectivity to the process of locating difficult to access costs. That's it. You get 1 mark. And then the other method or technique that can be used is the locational break-even analysis. This technique compares site options economically by using cost volume analysis. And then the third one is the center of gravity method. So this is a mathematical method for locating a distribution center where distribution expenses will be kept to a minimum. And then lastly, the fourth one, we have the transportation model. The goal of the transportation model is to identify the optimal shipping pattern from various supply locations to various demand points. So these are the 4 methods or techniques that can be used to evaluate alternative sites across North America. Okay, and then 222, it says, suppose that the initial analysis identified the 3 plausible locations in the US for final consideration. Critically discuss how a cost volume analysis can be used to evaluate the 3 location alternatives. So this one, you can find it page 52, on unit 2, page 52. That is where there is locational cost volume analysis, but there is no much information there. But and you can see there is 6 marks. Also, you don't have to write a lot. You can include calculations for the locational cost volume analysis. Include calculations to what elaborate your answer. So we want to see how this method can be used. So the locational cost volume analysis, it is a method used to determine which location provides the lowest cost. Okay, that's the locational cost volume analysis. It is used to determine which location provides the lowest cost. So it can be done mathematically or graphically. So the following are the steps to be followed when you are doing the locational cost volume analysis. Number 1, determine the fixed and variable cost for each location. Right? Number 2, record or plot the cost for each location. And then number 3, select the location with the lowest cost for expected production volume. Right, example, let's see how we can use the locational cost volume analysis. We have 3 locations that have been given, right? We think the 3 possible locations for final consideration. Right? So the locations that you can work with there from North America, we have Mexico, we have the United States, and we have Canada. These are 3 locations that you can work with, right? So here we have selling price, we have the volume of units, right? So we have your country, this is the table. We have the country, first column. Second one is our fixed cost. The second one, third one, sorry, variable cost. And then the last one, total cost. So for Mexico, let's say the fixed costs are 25,000, and then the variable costs are 65 per unit, right? It gives us a total of 317,500. That's the total cost. So you need to say the variable cost times the volume or expected volume, right? So you're going to say 65 multiplied by 4,500. You get 292,500. That's the variable cost, total variable cost. And then we add the fixed cost of 25,000. So 292,500 plus 25,000, we get 370,500. This is the total cost for the Mexico location. Okay. And then the United States, let's say, for example, the fixed cost for US is 56,000, and then the variable cost per unit is $42. So let's calculate the variable cost, total variable cost, and then we add the fixed cost, we get the total cost. So I'm going to say 42 on your calculator, 42 multiplied by 4,500 units. That's 189,000 plus the fixed cost of 56,000. So plus 56,000 on your calculator, you get 245,000. That's the total cost for the US location. And then calculating the total cost for the Canada location, we have a fixed cost of 60,000, variable cost per unit is 34, and then expected volume is 4,500, so it's $34 multiplied by 4,500 units. We get 153,000 plus 60,000. We get 213,000. This is the total cost for the Canada location. So we see here the locational cost volume analysis is used to determine which location provides the lowest cost. We need to select that location which has got the lowest total cost. So if you look at the total cost, you can see that Canada is the location that has got the lowest cost. So the company should select Canada as it is the one with the lowest total cost for the expected production volume. Okay, right, so this is how we use the locational cost volume analysis. You need to give your example using figures. You need to give your example using figures. Firstly, you can just tell us what the locational cost volume analysis is, maybe, and give the steps that are followed when doing the locational cost volume analysis. And then now you give us a short example. These are only 6 marks. You don't have to write a lot of things. Okay, that's 222. And then we go to the next question. There is also a study to read there. A CM electronics component manufacturer. I know you have the document. Those who did not read, I can just give you some minutes, 1 or 2, maybe 3, to browse the case study before we attempt the questions. Right. Let's go to question 3.1. Right. 3.1. After reading the case start, you understand the question. So it says 3.1 is with 12 marks. It says, with a reference to the case start provided, evaluate each of the potential locations that ACM can consider. Evaluate each of the potential locations that ACM can consider as the company here, which is ACM on the case study, ACM Electronics. Okay, so for the potential locations have been given in the case study. So you have 12 marks. You need to start with your introduction, right? And then you now evaluate the potential locations under the board. So the first potential location that has been given from the case study is Hong Kong, which is the People's Republic of China, PRC. It's given there. So you need to write the positives of that location. And if the negatives are there, also write about those negatives. Say, however, they are these negatives. But if the negatives are not given, just write those positives of that location, right? And if you're only given the negatives of the location, but not given the positives, write about those negatives that you are given. So let's look at Hong Kong, which is PRC. The Hong Kong main attractions come from the fact that since 1997, when its sovereignty was transferred back to the PRC, labor costs have decreased as access to labor has increased. Right? Now you're writing that the labor costs have increased in PRC. And then the rational labor costs will boost ACM's productivity and enhance profits. The company can save money in the short and long terms. Although this is the most obvious benefit, the company will learn to recognize many other benefits once it locates in Hong Kong, where labor is cheap. So write about how those positives will help ACM or will be of benefit to ACM. Another thing that you can write about Hong Kong, it enjoys a large seaport and very good transportation infrastructure. And this is important in moving raw materials and moving out finished components to customers. By moving goods from locations where they are sourced to locations where they are demanded, good transport infrastructure will provide the essential service of linking ACM to its suppliers and customers. Okay, so this is what you can write about the People's Republic of China, which is Hong Kong. Write about its benefits. And then if there are negatives that have been mentioned, write about them also on the other hand. If they're not there, just write the positives. And then we have Kuching, which is in Malaysia. That's another possible location that has been mentioned in their case start. So the Kuching is located in the Malaysian province of Sarawak on the island of Borneo. It is fourth largest city in Malaysia and home to a population of around 650,000. So this population of around 650,000 will provide a large customer base for ACM, and there will be more demand for the company's products. Right? They're now telling how the company will benefit from that population of 650,000. More demand will mean that the company will enjoy more profits. Right? Another thing, Kuching will provide access to natural resources and other production inputs has been mentioned in the case study. So a location which is near main suppliers will help reduce cost and allow staff to meet suppliers easily to discuss quality, technical, and delivery problems, amongst other things. And if you are at still there at Kuching, the transportation infrastructure is good, and the seat hosts a deep seaport for moving raw materials in and finished goods out. That said, the port is not as large or accessible as those of Hong Kong or Singapore, and several committee members have expressed concern about the frequency of ship visits to Kuching. Right. So, write about the positives, write about the. So, we want to evaluate the locations to see which locations can be better for the company. So, write about the positives, write about the negatives. Then the company, we have to weigh the positives and the negatives to see which location can consider. And then these are 12 marks earned by writing a conclusion. Okay, that is how we tackle the first question, which is 3.1, with two potential locations, that is Hong Kong and Kuching, which is in Malaysia. Okay, and then we go to 3.2. 3.2 says, given your extensive knowledge in operations management, examine the other essential variables that are not mentioned in the case chart that might play an important role in the committee's decision in selecting an ideal location. So location decisions, they are covered in unit 2. That's why you are seeing this question. So 50 marks. So you need to write points that have not been mentioned in the case study. Right. So 15 marks, you start with your introduction. We'll cover this later on. And then the first point that you write about is proximity to the market, right? And then write about that one. The second that you write about is ecological and environmental factors, right? So we determining where to locate a business, ecological and environmental factors like air and water pollution might be determined for some businesses. So write about ecological and environmental factors. The other is competition. You write about competition. So in case of some enterprises, like retail stores, where the revenue side depends on the degree of competition from other competitors' location nearby, plays a crucial role in selecting the location of an enterprise, right? And also, you can write about political conditions. The political conditions also affect the locational decisions. Okay, and then the other that you can write about is growth potential. It is frequently necessary to check the future production capacity into account. Even if a place meets several other criteria, it could still be disregarded, if there's little room for growth. So it also affects locational decision growth potential. And then we have customer convenience. It's another factor that you can write about. And then lastly, you write your conclusion. So under customer convenience, you are saying the businesses should be situated in those areas where clients can obtain the services quickly and the products that they want quickly and affordably. Okay, right. So that's 3.2, right, about proximity to the market, ecological and environmental factors, competition, political conditions, growth potential, customer convenience. So you need to be giving examples as you write as you expand this point, it's very, very important to give examples. It shows that you know what you are doing. Okay, right. The last question, the last part of question 3, it says, considering that this is a long-term strategic decision, discuss the factors that might change in the next 10 to 20 years and how the possibility of such changes influences the decision. So 13 marks, start with your introduction, and then you write about the factors that will change in the next 10 to 20 years. So you can start by writing the nearshoring. This is the factor that can change in the maybe 10 years to come. So by nearshoring or relocating production and distribution facilities closer to markets with a quicker rate of growth, many businesses want to better align supply functions with the demand location over the coming years, that is 10 to 20. This initiative will change in the future, where businesses will aim to locate closer to markets to reduce transportation costs, which are anticipated to decline sharply in the coming years. Okay, so we are saying nearshoring, this will change in the next 10 to 20 years. We have geopolitical factors, this will also change in the next 2 to 10 years. So putting politics aside for a moment, in the coming 10 years or so, governments all around the world will be responding to globalization and immigration. The amount of immigrants, and in certain situations, the immigrant groups that are permitted to enter their country and work will often be restricted by many countries. Many of these governments are still working through the next process, so nothing is known about the final policy. So in the next 10 to 20 years, the geopolitical factors are going to change. Okay. And then another thing that can change in the next 10 to 20 years, we have green energy and sustainability. So sustainability and green energy as a site selection factor will increase among nearly all industries as companies strive for reduced carbon footprints and regulatory compliance, but the higher cost and perceived lower reliability of wind and solar energy will remain an obstacle to its deployment. Companies will locate in areas where green energy and sustainability are a priority. This will have a positive effect on businesses as they will be seen as reputable businesses in the eyes of the stakeholders. Right? What the last section says, and how the possibility of such changes influences the decision. So you need also to measure. So the possibility of green and energy changes, what will positively affect the businesses, what they will be seen as reputable. Okay, and then we have technology. It's another thing that we know technology. Technology is always changing. So in the next 10 to 20 years, technology will change. So technology, especially communications technology, has not only been a driver of change, but has facilitated the site selection process and continue to do so in the future. It will continue to do so in the future. Right? So telecommunications technology will change and create the virtual office of employees working from remote locations. The growth of the virtual office will impact location strategy in that some companies no longer need as much workspace because many employees will be working from remote sites. So this will lead to a decrease in facility size, which will also lead to savings on costs and increase productivity and profits. That is how it impacts the businesses. And then another thing that will also change in the next 10 to 20 years, we have amenities. So according to a widespread belief, we can say if amenities could be made better, economic development will be encouraged. So nice weather, good roads, schools, other training facilities, hospitals, and several other things might be considered. These are what we call amenities, right? Good roads, schools, hospitals that are nearby are amenities to your business. So many sectors now place a greater emphasis on amenities, especially those that are less dependent on conventional locational pools of cost and proximity. So in the future, there will be attractive amenities bringing the scale to specific regions. So we see businesses going to locate those areas that have got what? Good amenities. Okay. Right, so those areas which have got good amenities, they are usually frequented by a lot of customers, so it will positively affect the businesses or impact the businesses, or they will see an increase in their revenues. And then lastly, you write a conclusion. Okay, so the factors that we've looked at here that will change in the next 10 or so years: nearshoring, geopolitical factors, green energy and sustainability, we have technology, we have amenities. Okay, right. Going on to the next question, that is question 4. Question 4 is for calculations. Question 4 is for calculations. Question 4.1 says, bread ahead bakery is a plant processing plant, breakfast, goes and wants to better understand its ability. Last week, the facility produced 148,000 rolls. The effective capacity is 175,000 rolls. The production line operates 7 days per week with 3 8-hour shifts per day. The line was designed to process the nut-filled cinnamon flavored nuts raw at a rate of 1,200 per hour. Determine the design capacity, utilization, and efficiency for this plant when producing the deluxe raw. Right, so question 4, it's unit 2. You'll find it on page 47, with 4.1 and 4.2. Page 47, that is where we have design capacity, utilization, and efficiency. Right, so design capacity, first one which is saying, determine the design, calculate the design capacity. So design capacity, this is the total achievable capacity under perfect conditions. That's design capacity. Right, so from our question there, to determine the design capacity, we are going to calculate what number of rolls that produced by the bakery under perfect conditions. Right, so we have been given that the line was processed the nut-filled cinnamon flavored deluxe at a rate of 1,400 per hour. We are going to say 1,400 per hour multiplied by how many shifts are there. We have been told that there are 3 shifts, right? There are 3 shifts. The production line operates 7 days per week with 3 8-hour shifts per day, right? So we are going to multiply 1,200 per hour multiplied by 3 shifts multiplied by how many hours per shift? 8-hour, 3 8-hour shifts, so 8 hours per shift. So we're going to multiply by 8 hours per shift multiplied by how many days per week? And these are 7 days per week. This is how we find the design capacity. Total achievable capacity under perfect efficiency. 1,200 per hour multiplied by the 3 shifts, multiplied by how many hours per shift, 8, multiplied by how many days per week, 7 days per week. So we multiply the 1,200 times 8 times 3 times 8 times 7, we get 201,600. Right? Check from your calculators whether my answers are correct there. So it's 201,600 rows. This is the what? The design capacity of the plant. Okay, and then next one, it says utilization. So the formula for calculating utilization is actual output over design capacity multiplied by 100. It's there also in the standard guide. So we're going to say actual output. We are given actual output that said last week the facility produced 148,000 volts. It's there on the question. So actual output 148,000 over the design capacity, one that we calculated the first part here. So if this design capacity is wrong, it means the utilization is also going to be wrong. Okay, so it's actual output of 148,000 divided by this design capacity, 201,600 multiplied by 100. You can write it as 0.7341, always a percentage, 73.41. This is the same thing. If you write as a decimal fraction or as a percentage here, your answer will be correct. Okay, and then efficiency. How do we calculate efficiency? The formula is given. Efficiency is equals to actual output over effective capacity multiplied by 100. Our actual output from the question, 148,000, divided by what is the effective capacity. We have been given in the question that the effective capacity is 175,000 volts. So we say 148,000 over 175,000, okay, multiplied by 100. You get 84.57% or 0.8457. Okay, that's question 4.1. Okay, that's question 4.1. Now we go to 4.2. Right. 4.2 says the same bakery is decided to increase its facilities by adding one additional process line. Right. The firm will have 2 process lines, each working 7 days a week, 3 shifts per day, 8 hours per shift, with an effective capacity of 300,000 rows. Okay. And then this addition, however, will reduce overall system efficiency to 85%. Okay. Compute the expected production with this new effective capacity and determine utilization. Okay, so expected production, the expected production will be efficiency multiplied by effective capacity. So we have been told there that the addition will reduce overall system efficiency 85%. So we are going to say 85% multiplied by the effective capacity of 300,000. You get 255,000 units. That's the expected production. Okay, and then design capacity. As the above here, just do the same as the above. We have 1,200 per hour times 3 shifts times 8 hours per shift times 7 days a week multiplied by 2 lines. There are now 2 lines. In the first one, it was only 1 line, but now there are now 2 lines. So it's multiplied by 2. Okay, there are now 2 lines, process lines. So it's 1,200 times 3 times 8 times 7 multiplied by 2, we get 403,200 rows. And then utilization is actual output over design capacity times 100. So it's 255,000, which is the actual output here, right? And then multiply over 403,200 times 100. We get 63.24% or 0.6324. Okay, right, that's question 4.2. Any question from question 4? Because this is the last question from the document that I sent to you. Any questions? Okay, right. There's an additional question here that I have. So you can see a question that will be asking you about, okay, let me share. You can see a question sometimes that will be asking you about the critical and strategic decision areas. So question might be saying, evaluate the 10 critical and strategic decision areas of operations management and operations manager would have to consider. So you might find this maybe under a case study to come maybe as the last question of the case study, and then there will be an operations manager in the case study. So it will ask you which critical and strategic decision areas the operations manager should consider. So when you see such a question, these are the 10 areas. These are the 10 areas. Okay. We have goods and service design. It's on page 38 in our start guide. So we have goods and service design. We have quality. We also have to consider quality, right? And then we have process and capacity design. Third one, location strategy. We have the layout design. We have human resources and design. We have supply chain management, inventory management. We have scheduling. We have maintenance. So the question is 10 marks, right? Maybe 20, will be 2 for each one. So just tell us what goods and design, what do you mean when you're saying we have to consider good service and design? So when it's good service and design, we are looking at this, decisions on cost, quality, and human resources being taken under goods service and design. And then for quality, customers have a very high quality standard. So here we are looking at the quality decisions. So just briefly tell us about each location decision area. Right, so these are, so this is what I had for you for today. I will share this document with James, and then James will send it to you. So maybe during the same time then you can go through the questions and the memorandum here to see how we tackle these questions. Any questions that you'll be having, even before we start the next lecture, you can pause the questions and ask the questions. You are free to do so. Right, any questions before we call it a night? Any questions? Here we have, you can see a lot of you here. Anyone with any question? Any questions, any contributions from you guys? Spindile, any question? We have Teboho, any question? Sakile, these are some of the people that I'm seeing here. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Okay. If you don't
No
have
questions
questions,
from my side.
Okay.
okay. Thank you very much. Right. So let's meet next week. This is what I had for you today. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, sir. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.